Yes, please. All right. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This morning I'm going to be talking with Luke Egan about some backside floaters and some big backside floaters from different guys. Some of them will be Luke's, and we're just gonna have fun going through it. They let's see here. Just waiting for my wife to help me a little bit on connecting. Let's see. First off, and go live with shadow surfing. I went live with shadow, and then just waiting for Luke to give us a call. All right. That floater looks like it's sort of sideways. Maybe we gotta twist it around, but we'll be. I was thinking about it this morning and thinking about how similar the backside floater is to skateboarding. Sort of the 50-50 grind and the and how coming off of the 50-50 grind is a little bit like coming off a handrail. But I'll be there he is. Okay. So after this chat, I'll be going on to live stream. There he is.
Morning.
Morning, buddy. How are you?
Good. I'll try and get that light out of there just a minute. I'll fix this up a bit. How you doing?
Good. How's it going down there?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm just right there. This could be better with the so you haven't got too much light in your face. There you go. Is that better?
You want to see that handsome mug?
Yeah. Can you see me? Is that working? Is that working?
Yeah, that's working well. How's we just got the kids heading off to school, and how's your little guy doing?
Yeah, Samuel's doing great, thanks. He's 5 months old and powering, and yeah, so blessed. He's going really great. Thank you.
Cool. The morning routine is pretty much up to mom for right now, and then
yeah, I've had him for a little bit this morning. I'm so hopeless at staying up late at night, and I tried my best to stay up and watch the men's first round in Mexico, and I got into 2 heats and I passed out. So I watched the first 2 heats and passed out. So I woke up late this morning, but been hanging out with Sam, and and then happy to be hanging out with you, Gerr.
Yeah, buddy. I wanted to talk with you a little bit about just a couple things. The Olympics. I know your boy Julian was in it, I love that one turn he did where he threw the fins at the beach. I think you and I were trying to do that stuff, all the time, all the time. But man, surfing's come a long way, huh?
Yeah, the surfing at the Olympics was really exciting. What a lead up. It was those couple of years or so when we knew the Olympics, surfing was going to be in the Olympics, and the amount of questions you got asked, what do you think? What is this? And it's just like, I just hope there's surf because it was in Japan. I just wanted the world to see surfing and what it could be, for the people that hadn't really dived in and had a good look at surfing. I was just so afraid of it being half a foot and these guys jumping up and down just trying to get speed, and it wasn't that. So for me, watching the Olympics, all day long these guys were going to turn up and put on an incredible performance. But I was so nervous it was going to be flat. Like, it was like I was contest directing again. I had nothing to do with it. I was, you know, back with, it was on in 2020, I was going to attend with Julian, but, you know, all the changes, etc. I didn't end up being there. And I was like looking at the forecast and I saw the typhoon on the maps, and I'm like, yes, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. They're going to get waves. And it was just such a relief, because look at the guys there. They just, they surf so good. And even just with some closeout consequence just made it so spectacular. And I think, you know, that was my big relief. The performances were amazing, but my big relief was that there was surf.
You remember that kind of surf, though. We had to surf that kind of stuff, didn't we?
100%. Yeah. We surfed it a lot, and in Japan and on that beach. Yeah. So, you know, that it just shows how good these guys are. Like, I was talking to a friend the other day, and we're in the surf, and I was like, what do you think the result would have been if it ended up being in a pool? You know, because one part of surfing is, that I really like. I have nothing against the pools, but one thing I really like about at first I thought, oh, Japan, maybe it should be in a pool, you know, because we're not sure if they're going to get waves, but they got waves. And just that first gold medal was for a guy that had to use his waterman skills and hunt down the wave as well as ride it. I thought in the end that was really cool. The first Olympics had that part in it. I really like when they go to the pools and everyone's got, you know, like the skateboarding was fantastic. It was the first time skateboarding was in the Olympics too. I was glued to it because I love when everyone's got the same opportunity as well. I love that kind of contest as well. And I thought the skateboarding was fantastic to watch. So who would have won, you know, and we were just talking on who would have won if it was in a pool and everyone had equal opportunity. Different. It's just a good conversation to have with your mates.
Yeah. Would you say that the surfing looks a little bit more like skating these days?
Yeah, 100%. Just that air reverse. There's so many versions of it, and you got to have one. You know, like in my opinion, right now, Gabriel Medina and Italo Ferreira are just so far ahead, especially in those conditions, than the rest of the field. I was very
so weird. They're both gooby footers. I mean, how does that happen? You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Just kidding.
Yeah, well, pretty good, isn't it? I'll go over and get my hat in a minute if you want. I got a hat that says that.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about Julian, and a little bit about it looks like Jeremy's kicking out too. What do you think of that? What do you think of that?
I think they're still passionate surfers, and still it's retiring's a hard thing. It's one of the hardest things you're going to do in your whole life. And I've got a gut feeling Julian's not done yet. I think just COVID and the restrictions getting back into Australia are so gnarly. Like Julian right now in his third quarantine, he's got 2 days to go. So in 2 days, that means he's sat in a hotel room for 6 weeks total in quarantine this year, since February, since the end of January, just so he can see his family. That's gnarly. That is just. I did it once with him, and I was losing it. So do it another 2 times is just.
You guys need to be doing wave key in quarantine.
100%. Need to do it. Need to put out a wave key quarantine block for. You know, it's gnarly, but
no,
see,
it sounds it.
so those guys, what two amazing surfers, and it's unfortunate that they both calling it quits, because we both just, we all just want to see them surf. But I don't think Jules is done yet. I just think that family's an absolute priority over everything to him, and I think that's creeping up on Jeremy too. I think Jeremy's got that. Oh, I just love being with my family. I don't want to be, racing around the world every minute. I don't think it's the actual putting the jersey on, paddling out and surfing a heat and having a challenge with someone. I think they still love that piece.
Yeah.
But the logistical nightmare right now of the world, of trying to travel around, like I don't, I usually coach at all the WCT events, and I'm staying home for the rest of the year. It's too hard. I want to be with my family, and it's just unfortunately that's the way the world is right now.
Yes, I would imagine it'd be too emotional. It was pretty emotional. I've barely spent any time away from my family, and the little bit that I did, it was pretty emotional. I really wanted to get home. Felt like I was missing out. And when your kids are little, they're changing. Like they're just in 3 weeks, you're like, whoa, his face looks a little different. Oh, you know what I mean? And FaceTime only does so much, and you start going, what really matters. But I wanted to move on to this, talking about these big backside floaters that you're one of my all-time favorites in this department. And I wanted to ask you a few questions, like, one is, a lot of the guys that have done big backside floaters tend to have wide stances. Not all, but you have a fairly narrow stance, and I think that there's a stylistic thing to that, and it looks like Margot has a fairly narrow stance too. Knees are knocked, so you kind of can't tell how narrow. It's probably wider than people would think if the knees are out, you know what I mean? But I guess the first question is, do you remember learning how to do them?
Yeah, I did. I do, sorry. And for me, you're right. A lot of guys that do, or did, there's not as many in, they're not done as much anymore. I think you call them a lip glide these days more than a float, because they, in today's competition, I think everyone gets up on the lip and gets it to pull himself away from the wave and land to get around a section so that they can get that carve. But back in the day, or I do remember, and it was scary. Like floaters can be so gnarly and so bad for your body. It was nearly as bad as aerials. Like you'd get up on the lip, you'd want to stay and travel on the lip for as long as you possibly could, and then land it, and not land in that trough to where it kicks your board back up at you. And you called me the other week, and I was stoked to talk to you about this. I still enjoy a good floater, especially a tail drop floater, and I can't stop thinking about, talking about how dangerous they are. Shea Lopez ended his career at Backdoor.
Were you there? I wanted to ask you that.
I was on the beach. I saw it live. I saw him do it. I saw him come out of the lit. Like, it was so ripe for a big floater, but that last piece of the reef there at Backdoor is so gnarly, and the wave there, it's got so much grunt when it explodes on that inside of the reef, and the way he landed, and you could just tell it was like he hurt himself. That was really bad. What's going to happen? And he just pretty much washed up the beach. And even though he was at the ladder of his career, it did end his career. It was done from that day.
When he came off of the floater, because this is the thing, when the first when we first started doing floaters, I didn't really come off of the floater that much, and until I started seeing sort of Richie Collins, and he would go up and then jump off the floater to get away from that trough, as you were saying, and that's so critical. And I think that's also how rock and roll ones start too. But I'll get into that a little more. But did he land flat, or did you know what I mean? Because did he hit the board? How did he do it?
He got projected into probably the worst part of the wave you want to be. So he was in the lip. It was one of those ones that you kind of go into a barrel coming at you and get yourself upside down, kind of inverted on the lip.
Yeah.
And then once the lip was like parallel with the whole bottom of his board, it just projected him towards the beach, and then the wave landed. He landed so far out and so far on the flat, and just landed. And there's no way the shock absorbers were going to take that up. And he kind of landed on like a chunky, weird bit, and it was just straight away, just the way that his body went towards his board as he hit the water. You just knew straight away. But hey, we'll get onto the positives of floaters though. Like
no, but I was gonna say, I was just gonna say that the thing is that how I don't know about you, but I've aborted so many floaters. Like if I don't have enough speed, if I think there's a chance I'm not gonna make it, I just abort it. I don't even try to stick it unless maybe I was in a contest back in the day when I was like, I have to make it. But for the most part, when I'm free surfing, you know, the old body over here is not as young as it used to be. So I'm I'm okay with aborting the floater.
Yeah.
But I think the key is having that control, and also when you're coming off the floater, that you don't come off from up high. You wait, you stay on the lip until it gets down close to the bottom, and then you jump off, and then you don't have too far to jump off.
Trying to explain to someone that wants to do a better floater is stay up there as long as you can. And in the beginning, if you find it hard to abort, just keep trying to float. Don't try and come down, and you'll end up kind of running out of speed and kind of get sucked down the back. That was usually my best exit, because most places we surf, it's really shallow at the front part of the wave too. So a lot of times, if you're doing it over reef and stuff, and I was like, oh, I don't want to finish this. I used to just keep floating and floating and floating and floating until it just sucked me over the falls, kind of down the back of the wave. So I didn't even get to that projecting myself out. That's another way of getting out of it. Just go, I don't want to go down there. So just stay on. And it's probably the way that the tail drop floater came about, because the longer you stay there and you lose your speed, you're either your nose or you're standing on the back of the board. So usually the back of the board is going to come down first. But
you know what, I got a couple floaters we can look through, some tail drop ones, some of yours. You want to take a look at a couple of these, and then we can just kind of look, sort of, we can stop it, and then here's a flipped Margot. That's Margot going goofy.
Yeah, like that's cool. That's super cool. I like that. Just once you get up there, it just adds so much than just standing there and going along the wave. Is dropping the tail down, getting up there, and then just pushing with your back foot down, and then seeing how long you can go along with the tail facing the beach is pretty cool. I really like that's my favorite floater. I'll probably only do a floater these days to try and execute a tail drop floater. It's my favorite one right there. And see how I kept him up there a little longer. So it keeps him up there a little longer. So you kind of, that the explosion of the wave happens, and he manages to come down a pretty nice padded area of foam after the wave breaks. And with the knock knee too, you mentioned earlier, if you look closely, for me, it was usually and this one of Margot the other way around. You'll see that it's mostly his back leg that is that is knock-kneed. It's not the front.
Yeah.
And the other thing you'll see is from his forward shoulder down to his hip, down to his front knee, is taking all the pressure of the landing. And you're kind of controlling with the dropped knee back foot. So you're pushing the tail down, you're kind of directing the board kind of where you want it to go. And in saying that, if you get into a tail drop floater and you lose control of where the board's going to go, I used to go, okay, well, just stay low. The key to coming out of any turn that you have lost control of is get the body as low as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And let the board do its thing. We all know that you push a surfboard down a wave, fins first, it flips around and the nose points to the beach. So just become a passenger. Just get really low and go, okay, I'll come around when you want to come around, and just be balanced and really low, and it'll come around like that. So yeah, that's a pretty cool one. And there's another one here. Who's this one?
Jay.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was kind
Jay Phillips. That's that lip line that you're talking about, right?
Yeah, stay up there and see how he just managed to get over that explosion of the wave where the wave lands.
That first part is so easy not to connect, not to get like getting your board up and then getting it on that little flip part where you get it like that, so you pick up so much speed, right? It's that part right there, that entry right there. You got to pull your front knee into your chest. Just that last little second before, because to do the floater, the wave has to be kind of, or the lip line, you can't do them when the wave's like that. The wave has to be going like somewhere in this pitching spot. You know what I mean? That's why they're so useful on a point wave or a beach break, to get over a section to be able to get a final turn. But in this case, it's like a final turn, but a very impressive one.
Yeah, exactly. And you're exactly right, Gerr. It's that initial bottom turn into the lip and getting that timing right. Like, you get there too late, the lip's just going to take you out at the ankles. You get there too early and it's not like a really rad, you're not on top of the lip. It's just not going to work.
You know what? Every time I've ever done a floater where I'm too early, I feel like, and that music plays. Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, exactly. And in the heat too, if you did it in the heat, you're like, oh, what a waste of a wave. Oh my God, here we go. If you're up there too early, it's just like it's a full missed turn. So it's frustrating.
Here's you flipped around in natural for us. So we can geek out on it. Look at it. Look at this floater. You remember this thing?
Yeah, this is actually at HT's up in the Mentawais. Believe it or not, that board's 6'6".
Yeah, I was out that day watching you do these.
And yeah, that was a great trip. And
there's that entry right there, and then you get the tail.
I like keep playing that one, and we'll talk about it. If you look when I go up to the lip, watch the front shoulder and the front hand kind of direct exactly where I want to go too. I talk about that a lot when I'm coaching people. Some technique is your front arm is a guidance for everything. And, if you just sit there and put your arm in your other hand and feel how heavy it is, it's got some weight to it. So you move that arm around and you can get some good direction and some good balance / momentum. always a good one for getting on top of that lip, and then see how it came down next to my my knee and my hip, and that was just kind of balancing and waiting for the wave to do its thing. Yeah, and then see on that one too is all the balance is under that front foot. You go really front-footed to be able to make that landing, and the back foot is the only one that's really knocked in. So you're trying to take all the pressure of the landing on that front foot, and then instantly get to your back foot to do the bottom turn.
Yeah, see, I gotta disagree with you right there. I think what you do is right there. You come down with your back foot, and because it's like a plane. You know, the planes land with the back wheels, and then they go like that. And right there, you're on your back foot. See how there's no weight on your front foot right there, and then maybe that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, that compression. You take that compression because your front foot's lined up with your whole torso and your front shoulder.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Takes that compression, and then you end up on the back foot. Yeah, they're the perfect ones. If you can land it like an airplane, by all means, back foot first. That's probably technically the best way to do it, but she doesn't always work like that.
Yeah. No, I know. Here's another one of you.
Yeah, this is just kind of not as such hollow section and just trying to get around to the next piece of the wave, I guess this one is. And up there again, wave didn't really work out for me to get anything else done. That's what a float is good for too. You get there and you're either too late or the section's not that good. You know, just throw it up there and have a look forward past that section and see what you got to work with next. So for me, that was kind of this isn't that good. I'll just float it and wait for the next bit.
Yeah, I noticed that you turn your body, you turn your torso, and make sure your lead shoulder is on is sort of your lead arm is on the heels, on your heel side.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
that lead and throwing that front arm up where you want to go. Like if you look there on that first one, exactly where I hit the lip is exactly where you watch my front hand swings and points to exactly where I hit the lip.
Yeah.
So I find that you can get some consistency using that front arm and shoulder, and wherever you've got eyes on where you think you're going to be the best place to hit it is kind of you throw your arm at that piece of the wave to get consistency of getting the timing right. You watch like right there, my hand went exactly where I hit it and got it up into the floater. And I use that coaching a lot with, you got, look at Mick Fanning, Joel Parkinson, you know, some of the smoothest surfers in the world. And once you've got the basics down of a nice roundhouse cutback, floater, snap, your upper body's so important, your shoulders and using your arms.
Yeah, I think that a lot of a lot of times when I'm watching surfing or I'm coaching surfing, arms are the thing that make people that throw people off. And first, that they need to learn how to get their connected to their feet and connected to their lower body. And almost like I noticed for me, I was a very inconsistent surfer. I one day I'd be really good and the next day I'd be really bad. And I noticed that when you look at a lot of surfers, even some surfers that, like if you think about Beshan, for instance, he just holds his arms still and the body turns. Dane Reynolds does it too in first chapter. He holds his arms really still. A lot of the best surfers hold their arms really still, and that's how you start to feel how your torso, because people throw their arms without the torso moving, and you don't get the full power of the body.
And we're speaking the same thing in different language. So I was like, my first thing I said there was, once you've got the basics down of doing the turn, then you start thinking about the shoulders and, you know, the shoulders and the arms, which you can make you look a lot smoother than you actually.
Definitely.
So once you can do a basic roundhouse cutback, a basic snap, a basic floater, you can really get yourself looking a lot smoother. And it's the next stage of getting in there and using that. Look at Larry Bertelmann's still one of my favorite surfers.
Me too.
And just the way he used his body is just technically perfect. I still do layback barrel rides just for Larry. It's just the way that they used to do them in those days. I don't know, grabbing the rail, dragging the ass. Yeah, it's cool. I've got nothing against it, but it's just not for me. I'd rather be no hands, or I'll lay back and use that backhand here to slow myself down and lay in the barrel. It's just a better view, and it's just more fun. You mightn't get as deep and be in as long, but
that's your personal. That's your signature. You love that stuff, and that's why we love the way so many people, including myself, love the way you surf. And here's another pretty nuts floater from Ace at Karamas. Did you see this thing live too?
That was nuts. I think I did. It's that's pretty. That's very committed. That reef there is pretty shallow.
Look at this one.
That's super shallow. So that landing right there, it is so shallow. If he had a fall in there, guaranteed he's going to hit the bottom. So, and I love the way the tail there drops down. So technically, as you were talking earlier, the second one here, this is how you want to land when it's that shallow too. Like goes up and that tail drops down so that you kind of put the landing gear down was pretty cool. If he had been front-footed into that shallow reef there, or call an ambulance.
How's that big drop right there? Guy handled that so well. And then this is just like, look at the timing. He was really precision on that. That was like 20 waves, all those little waves going like this, and he was just so precision. It's really...
And a really smart decision too, because what he's done is he's decided to jump out and get out of there really early. Like, look at him floating across the top here, and you watch him turn the body, the front arm towards coming down the wave, and just wants to get down there. The second one even more so keep slow-moing it. And the second one, you see him use that front shoulder and like, okay, that's where I want to come down. Comes around, front shoulder is like, yeah, that's where I want to land, and bang, lands in a really nice, probably the smoothest part of the water on the bottom there. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to go through afterwards for anyone signed up, the members of WaveKey. I'm going to go through these backside floaters, some rock and roll floaters, and I am going to show how to use your arms to stay balanced on some of these big drops, and how important it is when you finish the floater to be in a position to be able to go right back into another turn. Did you watch that live too? This Adriana big floater, because this thing's really nice too.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that. It's good little entry there. Really perfect section for a float, because he manages to ride the roof for a really long time. Adriana had a good floater on him. Another guy retiring at the end of the year. Make sure you watch Adriano's heats in the contest coming up, because you're not going to be seeing him surf next year. So another great surfer deciding to call it quits. But that was really nice. I just love the way he had a great floater on him, and still does. And probably what would you think, Gerr, one of the guys that pulls it out in modern day surfing more than anyone.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's that what I like so much about this is the finish of it. Well, he gets up there really smoothly, times it really well. The board goes super horizontal, and and keeps his shoulders open. And then when he decides to come down, see how like the tail is actually not that far from the bottom of the wave. And so that's why it's not such a drastic, because if the tail was way up at the top of the wave and then you were trying to come off, it's really difficult to make those floaters. So I think that's the functional part of the rock and roll floater. It also slows you down a little bit too, so you're in time with the wave. And at the last little bit, you can sort of push on your tail and push yourself. You can push yourself away from the wave. Right there, you can see how he pushes himself away from the turbulence. Using a lot of airplane stuff here, but turbulence and but wingspan, I think, is really important in floaters. Wide arms,
Yeah, it gives you a lot of balance, and as we said earlier, once you've got the basics down, it's a really important part of getting variation in your turn for your floaters, and making yours too, like using your upper body once you've got the basics down. It's kind of putting your signature on it, because it's a big part of your style.
Wouldn't you say that the head has so much to do with it too? Like, I think what I see with you when you're going up there is you go up there, and then when you decide to come down, you tuck your chin and you sort of curl yourself down towards your back knee. Would you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can break that down a little bit more even, and talk about your eyes. So your eyes will take, you don't realize when you're flying along on a wave and you're trying to balance and you're doing your thing. I like to talk about the eyes and where the eyes are. Like, if you go, okay, we're going to drop the head, you might put something else off. So just make sure that once you're up in that float, okay, put your eyes where you want to go, and your subconscious will probably just move your head enough to keep a good balance. So, and like the same with the forwards, with a front side snap, you see guys looking at the tail to get all that power in. I like the ones too that you look down your arm and look where you're going. It can give you two good variations just with your eyes. So, your head or your eyes, but I think the eyes are a good one to just when you only want subtle changes, and when you're learning to do a turn, the eyes are really good. So when I'm dropping that chin, it's my eyes going from, okay, I've hit the lip and I'm floating. Where do I want to come down to? So just moving the eyes, it's just giving you a little bit of stable, because naturally you make the head become subconscious, because the eyes are directing where you want to go.
Right.
I think that's a good one.
So you're looking at where you're going to land it, basically.
100%. Once you feel the board starting to come down, your eyes go, okay, what have I got to deal with next? And,
hey, let me ask. I've only got a little bit more time before I'm jumping on live this morning. But let me ask you this: how easy is it when you're going up to do a floater to have your head fall towards the trough and then below the floater? This floater right here of Medina at Sunset's pretty nuts. Did you happen to see this one?
Yes, I did. This one was amazing, and Medina's ability to fall on his back and get back up is just second to none. This was a carbon copy of one that Corey Lopez did many years ago too. I think until this one, there was Corey Lopez one too that was nuts. But I just wanted to shout out to Corey. But this is amazing. So look at that. So it's floating at sunset. You've got to be nuts to start with. And then he gets up on top like that. Look, there's that much water in that lip there that the wave's actually still green. It's not white. So that shows how much water is still in that wave, and he's on top there. And he's got up on top, got his balance, and looking down where he wants to go. I'm sure he's just like, oh, please let me land nicely. And then the determination of Medina here, landing unbalanced, kind of goes on his heel edge and manages to use his speed to skim off the water and not dig in too much to help him get back up. I'm not sure if
back flopped.
he backflopped. He did one in the Olympics after an air reverse that maybe Kelly's really good at it too, getting up after falling on his back. I used to be good at it. I'm not that good at it anymore. But just that core strength and being able to tuck your legs in under you to get that balance and get yourself up and you know, and maintain the wave. That is one of the hardest things to do surfing, is fall on your back like that in the foam and then manage to get yourself back up and stand back up and keep riding the wave.
Here's a floater. Here's Danny Wills at G-Land. Were you there? Did you see that one too?
I saw this one too. I was at G-Land for this, and that was amazing. And he comes down in a super hollow part of the wave. Danny Wills, one of my favorite surfers. He just so smooth. Everything's done with. I'm a fan of the surfers that make it look effortless. And Danny Shaw was one of those guys. And this is a ballsy move. And see how he's ended up in that cup. So it nearly looks like he's in front of it. Sometimes you can get more speed. If you can get your board in that breaking part of the wave, you watch when he goes up into this one, he gets the board in that breaking part of the wave and on that first front part of the lip. That's what allows you to stay up there. If you can get your board into that piece right there, you can travel longer and longer and longer. And that's actually spat him out in front of the breaking lip, and he managed to have a little bit of nice landing there because the wave was kind of steep.
Yeah, no, it's the bottom turn too. Where you bottom turn, you got to do that middle of the wave, or upper middle part of the wave, and it's almost like you have to be late. Yeah, you're either taking off really deep on a wave, or the section's thrown out in front of you, and that's the best place to utilize a floater. And Danny's got that like real wide arms and really beautiful style. So I love how he did. Another guy who was incredible at floaters, we couldn't find any, was Pedersen Rosa. Did you see I saw him do them at Chopu. I was like, wow, that was impressive.
I used to love watching Pedersen's heats, because especially when it was really, really dumpy or like beefy style waves, because it didn't matter where he was going to float, and he was going to try and float. So Pedersen was awesome. He just, once he got the jersey on, he didn't care where he was. If that lip came over at the right time, he was going to put himself on it and see how long he could ride it for.
Wide stance. Now have a look at this thing right here.
Yeah, cool. That's cool. And the awesome thing there is he lands in front of the explosion of the lip. Who is this?
This is Slater.
Slater, yeah. This one's awesome. I just can't. Yeah, it's small on my screen, and the other way around.
Yeah.
But look at that wave.
Yeah.
Look how chunky it is. That's nuts. And
I think it's at Super Tubes.
I love the balance that he got out of his back arm. Then he was kind of maybe going too forward on his board, and his back arm swings around and helps him direct and center himself in the middle of his board. There's another perfect example of using your arms and your shoulders to keep your balance. Watch that one again. And I love the back arm on this one. I think it had a lot to do with Kelly really directing where he wanted to be.
What part of the back? What part does he use his back arm? Like,
he gets up perfectly, gets himself in the lip. He's there, and I think he was going a bit too forward with his body, and the back arm. He used the back arm to kind of direct where he wanted to come down, and that's yeah, that's really, really
Oh,
amazing.
someone said this was Ocean Beach. Uh,
Okay. So he
but
goes up, you watch here, so he kind of loses his balance a little bit here because the sea gets a bit of the wave into the ankles, but manages to stay on. Look at the back arm come around there to stabilize him, and then the front arm's pointing where he wants to go, but that back arm swings around just to help him balance and redirect as well. So some
oh my
some
God,
really amazing technical surfing right there.
that thing is so committed. Another friend sent in
Notice
said,
all the committed ones that people have got jerseys on.
yeah, right, yeah. Another friend said that Cansdale was a floater wizard too, and he's got a pretty sick floater on him as well.
Yeah, and Mark
Uh,
Sainsbury, Sanger was one of the originators of making the floater look really good. There's a big list of guys that did great floaters.
yeah. Here, this is my floater at the OP. Were you actually there?
I think I was. It's one of the bigger years. Oh, so
Yeah,
what do we?
this was that bigger one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Just kind of lost the balance. I think.
You want to know the
Watch the.
story? You want to you want to
Let's.
know this? You want to know the
Were you looking at
story?
someone? Because it is the pier right there.
No, yeah, the pier's right there. No, the story is I wasn't even trying to do a floater. So I wanted to. The wave was closing out. I didn't have time to go to the bottom, so I basically bottom turned, and I thought I'm just gonna hit the lip and project out. I didn't think, oh, I'm gonna do a floater. If I was gonna do a floater, my body wouldn't have ended up in that position. It was really weird. It's like once I got to right here, my body got ahead of itself, and that's why I'm trying to reach down to grab the rail to see if I can pull it. So it's people call it like a floater, but I like wasn't even trying to do a floater. But anyway,
You ended up
it's funny
there.
how it's funny how like a mistake is well known. But anyway, I gotta jump onto this live thing, and but for my members, I'm gonna go through these floaters in Wave Key and show people how to do the stuff with their body, and how I am gonna show people what to do with the arms to stay balanced, and then also how to put the weight into the back foot to come off and do. I'm gonna show all this kind of stuff
Awesome.
in about 10 minutes. But I wanted to just say, dude, I can't wait to go surfing with you again. I hope when we surf, there's some floater sections that I can rail a big one off in front of you. And you can
Yeah,
do one in front of me too.
nice. Yeah, there's been a few waves this week, so I've been happy. I'm in Sydney in the lockdown, but thank God we can still surf. And there's been some swell this week, so that's keeping me sane.
Yeah, well, I want to send positivity out to everybody who's stuck in lockdown and can't surf, or and hoping it ends soon, and we can get back to spending some time in the water and hanging out with each other, laughing, and instead of talking with each other on the phone.
All right.
All right,
Cool.
buddy.
Take it easy.
Take it easy. Thanks for all the information and all the love. You.
No worries. You.
Okay. See you, buddy. Bye. I already said that at the beginning.